Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying this. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's not talent, not luck, and not your circumstances. It's discipline. Master it and you can master life. Now, you don't wake up one day with incredible self-discipline. It's like a muscle. It grows with consistent effort. So let's explore 7 techniques to help you build and strengthen this muscle. And discipline starts with a clear purpose. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you'll give up when the road gets tough. Ask yourself, why is this important to me? Is it to give your family a better life? Is it to achieve freedom? The stronger your why, the easier it is to stay disciplined. Your surroundings matter. If you want to eat healthier, keep junk food out of the house. If you want to focus on work, eliminate distractions. Your environment can either work for you or against you. Choose wisely. Discipline isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing something every day. If you can't do 100 push-ups, start with 10. If you can't read a book a week, start with 10 pages a day. Small, consistent actions compound over time. Here's the truth. Discipline hurts, but regret hurts more. Skipping that workout might feel good now, but when your health suffers years later, you'll wish you had endured the temporary discomfort. Always remind yourself of this. Short-term pain leads to long-term gain. Set your own standards and hold yourself to them. It's not enough to say, I'll try. Make a commitment. Write it down. Track your progress. And if you slip up, don't make excuses. Own it, learn from it, and get back on track. The people around you influence your habits. Spend time with disciplined, focused, and goal-driven individuals, and their mindset will rub off on you. Likewise, avoid those who encourage laziness or negativity. Your circle shapes your reality. Discipline doesn't mean deprivation. Celebrate your wins. If you've stuck to a budget, treat yourself to something small. If you've hit a fitness milestone, take time to appreciate your effort. Rewards keep you motivated to stay on the path. The foundation of self-discipline lies in understanding your reason, your purpose. You see, without a strong enough reason, it's easy to falter. Think about it. Why would anyone endure the discomfort of change, the sacrifice of time, or the discipline required to stay on track if they don't know why they're doing it? A vague goal like, I just want to be successful, won't cut it. That's like setting out on a road trip without a destination. You'll wander aimlessly, running out of gas and energy. Here's the key. Your reason must be personal. It has to ignite something inside you. Maybe it's your family. You want to give them opportunities you never had. Maybe it's freedom, the freedom to wake up one day and live life on your terms. Or maybe it's about proving to yourself that you can become more than your current circumstances. Whatever it is, it has to be big enough to push you through the tough times. And let me tell you, tough times will come. That's life. You'll face setbacks, temptations, and moments when quitting feels like the easiest option. But when your reason is clear, you'll push through. Because it's not just about the goal anymore. It's about who you're doing it for and why it matters so much. So, take the time to define it. Write it down. Say it out loud. Keep it front and center in your mind every single day. When you wake up in the morning, remind yourself of your reason. When you're tempted to stray off course, bring it back into focus. When you feel like giving up, remember what's at stake. Discipline becomes far easier when you attach it to a purpose. Without that purpose, every little inconvenience feels like a mountain. But with a purpose, those same challenges feel like stepping stones. So let me ask you, what's your reason? What's the fire in your heart that will drive you forward when everything else tells you to stop? Because once you answer that question, discipline is no longer something you have to force. It becomes something you're pulled toward. Your environment is powerful. It shapes your habits, your mindset, and ultimately your results. You can have all the motivation in the world, but if you don't design an environment that supports your goals, you'll struggle to make lasting progress. Think of it this way. If you're trying to get fit, but your kitchen is filled with junk food, your chances of success are slim. If you're trying to be productive, but your workspace is cluttered and disorganized, you're fighting an uphill battle. The people you're around, the places you spend your time, the things you choose to focus on, these all have a profound impact on your behavior. If you want to be a disciplined person, you need to create an environment that reinforces that discipline every day. It starts with your physical surroundings. If you want to read more, put the books you want to read where you can see them. Make them easy to reach, right there on the table or by your bed. If you want to eat healthier, get rid of the chips, the cookies, and the processed food that tempt you. Replace them with nutritious options, fresh fruit, nuts, veggies. You don't have to rely on willpower alone when your environment is designed to work with you. But it's not just about the things around you, it's about the people too. Look at the people you're spending the most time with. Are they supportive of your goals? Are they pushing you to be better, or are they content to let you stay where you are? If you're surrounded by negativity, laziness, or a who cares attitude, you'll find it harder and harder to stay disciplined. You need to be around people who challenge you, who inspire you, who hold you to a higher standard. And then there's the mental environment. The content you consume, the thoughts you entertain, the messages you expose yourself to. What are you filling your mind with? Are you watching things that empower you or things that drain your energy? Are you feeding your mind with positive thoughts, motivational ideas, and learning that will move you forward, or are you letting your thoughts be consumed by fear, doubt, and distractions? When you consciously design your environment, physically, socially, and mentally, you create a foundation for success. You make it easier to stay disciplined because the distractions, temptations, and negative influences are minimized. You make it easier to focus on what truly matters because your environment is aligned with your goals. This is the power of environment. It either pulls you toward your goals or drags you away from them. Don't leave it to chance. Take control of your surroundings. Make them work for you, not against you. The most common mistake people make when trying to build discipline is they try to do everything at once. They think that to achieve something great, they need to take huge, dramatic actions right out of the gate. But the truth is, success isn't built on big, overwhelming leaps. It's built on small, consistent steps. Think about it this way. If you wanted to build a successful business, you wouldn't wake up one day and expect to have a thriving enterprise just because you worked hard for a few weeks. It takes time. You have to start small. You might begin by reading one book a week, attending networking events, or setting aside just 30 minutes each day to work on your goals. These aren't huge commitments, but they are steady, daily actions that add up over time. The same principle applies to any area of life, whether you're trying to get fit, develop a new skill, or change your habits. It's the consistent small actions that produce the biggest results. It's not about doing everything perfectly or all at once. It's about showing up day after day, making progress, and trusting that those small steps will eventually lead you to the destination you want. Now, I know some people will say, I want results fast. I want to see instant progress. But then, while it's natural to want quick results, the reality is that real growth is a slow burn. It requires patience, perseverance, and above all, consistency. It's about doing the right things repeatedly, even when the results aren't immediately visible. When you focus on small actions and do them consistently, you start to build momentum. At first, it may feel like you're not getting anywhere, and after a while, you'll start to see the structure take form. The compound effect kicks in. Here's the catch, though. While small steps are important, it's consistency that really makes the difference. You can't take a step today and then skip tomorrow and expect to make progress. Success is the result of showing up consistently, day after day. It's about making that effort a part of your routine, whether you feel like it or not. Because guess what? There will be days when you don't feel like doing the work. There will be moments when it seems easier to skip the task or give up altogether. But if you've made consistency a non-negotiable, you'll keep going even when it's tough. So start small. Start with something you can do every day, and then keep doing it. Over time, you'll see the results. You'll be amazed at how far those small, consistent steps can take you. The key is not to rush, not to try to do it all at once, but to make progress, even if it's slow, and to do it consistently. Because over time, those small, steady actions will lead to something far bigger than you can imagine. Let's get real for a moment. Discipline isn't easy. It takes effort, focus, and sometimes a whole lot of discomfort when you're in the middle of pushing yourself to do something difficult. Whether it's waking up early, turning down a temptation, or sticking to a tough goal, it feels like pain. It feels like you're sacrificing something. But here's the truth you need to understand. That pain, the pain of discipline, is nothing compared to the pain of regret. The pain of discipline is temporary. It's the sting you feel when you choose to do the right thing, when you choose to stay focused, when you push through the discomfort of doing what needs to be done. It's the soreness after a workout, the mental fatigue after a productive day of work, the moment you have to say no to something fun in order to say yes to your future. It's uncomfortable, sure, but it's a pain that fades away as soon as you see the results of your efforts. Secondary pain, physical, emotional. Now, on the other hand, the pain of regret lingers. It sticks with you. It's the pain of knowing that you could have been more, that you could have done better, but you didn't. It's the ache that comes from looking back and realizing that you let opportunities slip through your fingers. It's the heaviness you feel when you know you didn't take action when you had the chance. Let me tell you, there's nothing more painful than sitting at the end of your life and wishing you had made different choices, wishing you had been disciplined, wishing you had put in the work. Regret doesn't just fade away, it grows over time. It piles up as the years go by, and it becomes harder and harder to escape. But the good news is, you can choose which pain you want to experience. You can choose the temporary discomfort of discipline now, or you can choose the permanent, lingering pain of regret later. The question is simple. Do you want to feel the pain of effort and progress, or do you want to feel the pain of missed opportunities and unrealized potential? Here's what I can promise you. The pain of discipline today will pay off tomorrow. The effort you put in now will give you a future you can be proud of. But the pain of regret, that's a weight that grows heavier the longer you avoid doing what you know you should do. So choose your pain wisely. Embrace the discomfort of discipline now, and you'll be rewarded with the freedom of a life well lived. Choose the path of least resistance, and you'll end up carrying the burden of regret for the rest of your days. The choice is yours. And trust me, you're much stronger than you think. You can handle the pain of discipline. What you can't handle is the pain of regret. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is the habit of self-accountability. And let me tell you, this is where the rubber meets the road. It's easy to blame external circumstances for where you are in life. If only I had more time. If only the economy were better. But the truth is, the only person who can change your life is you. And the first step in taking control of your future is holding yourself accountable. You see, it's all too easy to point fingers and find excuses. It's easy to say, I couldn't do it because of this, or I didn't achieve it because of that. But when you practice self-accountability, you stop looking outward for reasons and start looking inward for solutions. You don't just take responsibility for the wins, you also take responsibility for the losses, the setbacks, and the failures. Because guess what? You can't learn and grow unless you're willing to own up to where you've fallen short. Accountability isn't about beating yourself up. It's about owning your actions and understanding that your choices shape your life. It's about recognizing that every decision you make, every habit you form, and every moment you waste has an impact. When you hold yourself accountable, you stop letting life happen to you. You start taking charge and making things happen. Here's how you can practice it. Set clear standards for yourself. Don't wait for someone else to tell you what's acceptable. Define your own level of excellence. Then, track your progress. Whether it's a fitness goal, a financial target, or a personal development milestone, keep score. Did you do what you said you would do today? Did you follow through on your promises to yourself? When you hold yourself to a higher standard and keep track of your actions, you start seeing where you're falling short and where you're excelling. And this is key. When you fall short, don't make excuses. Don't rationalize. Own it. Say, I missed that deadline. I didn't give my best effort. I didn't show up like I said I would. That's where growth begins. It's in taking full ownership. But here's the good news. Once you hold yourself accountable, the more you'll improve. You'll raise the bar and you'll reach heights you never thought possible. Why? Because when you're responsible for your success, you become empowered. You understand that you control your future. It's no longer about luck or circumstances. It's about you and your actions. So let me ask you, are you holding yourself accountable for the life you want to create? Or are you waiting for something or someone to change first? If you're serious about achieving anything, it starts with self-accountability. Make it a daily practice. Own your decisions, your successes, and your failures. And when you do that, you'll begin to see the transformation happen. The people you surround yourself with have a massive influence on your life, whether you realize it or not. You've probably heard it before, but it's worth repeating. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I don't just mean their financial status or career. They influence your mindset, your work ethic, and your habits. If you're hanging around people who aren't disciplined, who lack focus, who settle for mediocrity, then guess what? It won't be long before you're slipping into the same patterns. Their habits will start to rub off on you. You'll find excuses instead of solutions. You'll start putting off what needs to be done. You'll be comfortable in the cycle of procrastination and distraction. But on the other hand, when you surround yourself with disciplined people, people who are focused on their goals, who take responsibility for their actions, who refuse to settle for less than their best, something incredible happens. Their energy, their drive, their commitment to excellence begins to rub off on you. You can't help but rise to meet their level. They hold themselves to high standards, and without even realizing it, they pull you to do the same. It's like this. If you spend time with people who make excuses, you'll find yourself making excuses too. If you spend time with people who push through obstacles, who overcome adversity, who stick to their commitments no matter how hard it gets, you'll start to do the same. You need to surround yourself with those who demand greatness from themselves, because eventually you'll start demanding greatness from yourself too. People who are disciplined don't waste time complaining. They don't waste energy on negativity. They focus on results. They focus on growth. And that's exactly the kind of energy you need in your life if you want to build lasting discipline. But you should spend more time with those who inspire you to be better. The people who challenge you to think bigger, to work harder, to keep going when you want to quit. These are the people who will elevate you. The key is this: choose your inner circle wisely. Spend time with people who make you better, people who raise your standards, who encourage you to grow, who hold you accountable, and who push you to be disciplined in all areas of life. If you're serious about building discipline, you can't afford to be surrounded by mediocrity. You need people who are striving for something more, something bigger. Remember, success is not a solo journey, it's a group effort. And the group you choose to be a part of will either lift you up or pull you down. So choose carefully and start surrounding yourself with people who will elevate your discipline and inspire you to reach new heights. Successful people, use your son or your daughter, will lift you up. There's a simple but powerful truth that many people overlook when it comes to building discipline. Reward yourself for progress. Now, I'm not saying you should indulge in distractions or take your foot off the gas completely, but the truth is, progress deserves to be acknowledged because it motivates you to keep going. When you're on the path to achieving your goals, there are going to be days when it feels like you're not making much headway. You put in the work, you stay consistent, and yet the results don't seem to show up as quickly as you'd like. That's when it's important to take a step back and celebrate the progress you've made, no matter how small it may seem. We often focus too much on the destination, on the final result, and forget that the journey is where the magic happens. So, when you hit a milestone, whether it's a week of sticking to your workout routine, a month of staying disciplined with your budget, or simply completing a task you've been avoiding, reward yourself. But let me be clear, this doesn't mean giving in to your temptations or celebrating too much in a way that derails your progress. It means recognizing the hard work you've done, acknowledging your efforts, and giving yourself something that keeps you motivated. Maybe it's a night out with friends. Maybe it's buying yourself a book you've been wanting to read. Maybe it's taking a day off to recharge. These rewards help maintain the drive, the motivation, and the sense of accomplishment you need to keep moving forward. When you reward yourself for progress, you send a message to your brain that the work you're doing is valuable, and it reinforces the habit. So again, our 3 Ps. Positive, you're not punishing yourself for the times you've slipped up, but you're reinforcing the positive steps you've taken. Over time, this builds momentum. The more you celebrate the wins, big or small, the more you'll see yourself becoming the disciplined person you want to be. And here's another thing. Rewards also make the journey more enjoyable. You're more likely to stay on track if you know there's something waiting for you at the end of each milestone. It's like a treat for your efforts. Life can be tough, and the grind can wear you down, so a little reward here and there is a reminder that what you're doing is worth it. But don't let those rewards be excuses to slack off. Celebrate your wins, but always keep in mind that the ultimate reward is the life you're building. The best reward is the future you're creating. So take the time to recognize and reward the progress you're making. So take the time to recognize and reward the progress you're making. Acknowledge your achievements, stay motivated, and use those rewards to fuel the fire that keeps you going. Discipline isn't just about doing the work, it's about staying in the game long enough to enjoy the results of that work. You've heard it before, the journey is just as important as the destination. And yet, so many people rush through the journey focusing only on the end result. They work hard, they sacrifice, but they forget to acknowledge the small victories along the way. The truth is, rewarding yourself for your progress is not just a luxury, it's a necessity if you want to keep your momentum going. It's easy to get caught up in the grind and forget why you're doing this in the first place. When you don't take time to celebrate the small wins, you run the risk of burning out or feeling discouraged, especially when you're still a long way from your ultimate goal. That's why every time you make progress, you need to take a moment to recognize it. Don't wait until you've crossed the finish line to pat yourself on the back. Celebrate the steps you're taking to get there. Let me be clear. Rewarding yourself doesn't mean abandoning your discipline or giving yourself an excuse to indulge in things that will pull you away from your goals. It doesn't mean letting up or slacking off. What it means is acknowledging the effort you've put in, the time you've invested, and the growth you've achieved. You're building something worthwhile, and it deserves to be recognized. Maybe it's taking a well-deserved break after completing a project, or treating yourself to something you've been wanting, a small gesture to reinforce that you're on the right track. Maybe it's simply reflecting on how far you've come and feeling proud of yourself for showing up every day, even when it was tough. That's the reward, the recognition of your own effort and commitment. When you make it a habit to reward yourself for progress, you're reinforcing the behaviors that got you there. Each time you reward yourself, it strengthens the link between effort and reward in your brain. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you hungry for more. Without it, the path can feel long and thankless, and the temptation to quit grows stronger. But when you're consistently rewarding yourself, you're constantly recharging your drive. And so when we find that we use rust or external motivation, we're building a water string. Remember, progress doesn't always come in big leaps. Sometimes it's the small, incremental improvements that lead to the biggest changes. So take the time to recognize those improvements. Every day you stick to your routine, every time you overcome temptation, every time you make a choice that aligns with your goals, celebrate it. The real reward, however, isn't the material thing you treat yourself to. It's the satisfaction of knowing that you've stayed the course. It's the inner pride you feel when you see how much you've grown. And ultimately, it's the future you're building. That's the most significant reward of all. So reward yourself not just to take a break, but to remind yourself that every small victory matters. Because those small victories add up to something extraordinary over time. And the more you acknowledge them, the more motivated you'll be to keep going, day in and day out. In the pursuit of your goals, it's easy to overlook the small victories along the way. You set a big target, and all you can think about is hitting that target. But if you only focus on the end result, you risk missing the importance of the small wins that are happening day in and day out. These little wins matter. They are the building blocks of your success. You see, when you're chasing something big, like personal transformation, financial success, or a significant career milestone, it can feel like you're always a step behind, always working towards something distant, and that can be discouraging. But here's the thing, success doesn't happen overnight. It's a series of small actions, small decisions, and small steps that lead to the ultimate achievement. So, when you hit a small milestone, no matter how minor it seems, take a moment to recognize it. Celebrate the fact that you've made progress. For example, if you've been working on your fitness goals and today you pushed yourself a little harder than yesterday, that's a win. If you made it through the day without giving in to temptation or stayed disciplined to your budget, those are wins. They might not feel like much in the grand scheme of things, but when you consistently recognize these wins, you're telling yourself, I'm on the right path. You're reinforcing the fact that discipline is paying off. When you stop to acknowledge these small victories, you shift your focus from what you haven't achieved yet to what you have accomplished. And that, my friend, is powerful. It gives you the mental fuel to keep going. You start to see that success is not just about the grand gestures. It's about the consistent incremental progress you make each and every day. But here's the trick. If you don't recognize these small wins, you'll quickly get discouraged. You'll start to feel like you're not getting anywhere, and that's when you risk losing momentum. You need to look for the progress even if it's not perfect. Celebrate it, because each small win is proof that you're moving in the right direction. Remember, the journey to success isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And every small victory you celebrate makes that marathon feel more manageable, more rewarding, and ultimately more achievable. So stop for a moment and recognize your progress. If you want to stay motivated, it's essential to acknowledge how far you've come, even if the path ahead still seems long. In the end, those small wins are what build your confidence, your discipline, and your success. So don't wait for the big victory to feel good about your efforts. Celebrate the small victories because over time, they will add up to something truly extraordinary.